Thank you for asking.
He's a talented Mr. Howard.
I unplugged it all and plugged it back in.
You guys here for Young Writers? What's your name, sister?
Mr. Croft.
The March 10th, 2025 Ohio County Board of Education public hearing on the 2025-2026 school calendars. Hereby call to order at 5:30 p.m. on March 10th. Dr. Miller, Mrs. Nolte, would you kindly present the 2025-26 school calendar as you propose?
Before we go ahead and begin that, I'd like to thank Mrs. Nolte along with the calendar committee for their work through the whole entire process, for gathering feedback from our school employees as well as parents and community members, and I believe even students have input. So we certainly appreciate, and we'll put all of those comments and thoughts into consideration when making our decisions. So thank you, and please thank the members of your committee.
We will, thank you. I'm Susan Nolte, as you know, and with me is Bracken Winland, who just got married. She used to be Bracken Fish, and so we really like that name better, but she changed it, so. But she has been a member of our committee for the last couple of years, and I can't say enough about the committee. We do have a lot of repeat people who attend, so it goes very smoothly, and there are things, it's nice, they know the rules. So whenever anybody has a question of one of the rules and can we do this, someone else will jump in and say no because of this. So it's a nice thing. So we want to go ahead and start with the updates for this calendar year. This year was very exciting for the reason that this was the first year in all the years, the 10 years that we've been doing it, that we've had to use our remote learning days. So we had our 5 free snow days, and then we had 5 remote learning days, and then we stopped. So we didn't have to make any up. So as of yet, unless we get a free March snowstorm, it doesn't look like it. So with that, our last day is still going to be the same on May 23rd, 2025, with graduation on May 18th. And we're still kind of finalizing our summer school dates. We have the high school, middle school, but we're still working on our special ed summer school in our elementary. So we'll hope to have those maybe even by the next meeting for you. Okay, so I want to remind everybody about what our policy is that governs us, and it's our West Virginia State Policy 3234 that comes from our West Virginia Code 18.5-45. And what this says is that all school boards have to add at least 1 minute up to 29 minutes of instructional minutes to their instructional day to allow for 2-hour delays or to compensate for any early dismissals or anything that would happen for that. But in the same policy, if you add 30 minutes or more, this is like the big bonus. If you always feel like I'm on The Price is Right, you get 5 free snow days and then 5 time to have professional learning days, which equates to 40 hours, and we bank our 40 hours with our faculty senates to allow us to have 6 professional learning days. And then we also get times for delays and early dismissals. And then we also have the plan, which we take advantage of to develop a non-traditional instructional day. Those are what we call our summer savers, and they are either send home bags that the elementaries were able to send home, or the online learning that our middle school and high school students participate in. So that's kind of what brings us here, and then I'll hand it over to Bracken, who can tell you about our survey and the calendars that we developed.
So this year we were able to give the opportunity to create an online survey for the 2025-2026 school year. The survey was then shared on our Facebook social media page and through Aptitude. And we had more responses, I think it was within the first hour, than we did last year. It was crazy. And we received 1,468 responses from parents, students, community members, and employees. That was more than double what we had last year. And the results from this survey is what we considered when we looked at all 3 calendars for this year. So, when we looked at it was mostly parents who participated in this, but there were also a very large amount of employees, along with students and some community members as well. So we presented 3 different calendars. Calendar A was very similar to the calendar we had this year. In this, staff returns on August 15th, and students would return on August 21st. Winter break would still run from December 19th, with students returning on January 5th. With the option of a spring break, and it is the whole spring break, and that leads up to Easter. And the school year would end on June 2nd for students. Whereas calendar B, staff would return on August 25th, and students would return on September 9th. Wow, I really have it. Yeah. So September, I have that backwards, thank you. September 2nd. And then winter break would be the same as calendar A. However, this had the option for a split spring break, which schools would be closed March 9th, 10th, and April 3rd and 6th, and students would be done on June 5th then, which is slightly later than calendar A. Calendar C was kind of a happy medium between the two, with staff returning on August 21st and students returning on August 27th. This gives students a 3-day start to the week, and then we would be off for Labor Day and then come back. So with this, winter break is the same as the other two, from December 19th to January 5th, and this is also the week-long spring break from March 30th until April 6th, with the school year ending on June 5th. When we sent this out to parents, community members, staff, everyone else, results were very tight. There was no, when we looked at this, yes, calendar B won, but by very minimal numbers. There was no one outstanding number. So, by this, calendar B did receive the most first place votes by a very small margin. So we started to look at comments done by parents and all the other data that was provided to us. When we looked at that, parents, community members, and staff across the board really wanted a week-long spring break. When we looked at that, C had the most total first and second place votes with a larger margin, and this was by far a larger margin. This was the second place, and calendar C you can see is 1,086, which calendar A was 879. So it's by far well voted over the others. With calendar C, the comments showed the full spring break, which is what calendar C had. And calendar C also had a PL day on President's Day, which most of our community members liked. A lot of surrounding schools have that as well, and it really helped for daycare and other places for their children to go. With that being said, we would like to recommend calendar C to the board.
Yeah, up there, so there are copies up there if you would like them.
Thank you. Any questions, Bracken, on calendar C from the board?
I don't think I have that paperwork.
It is down by Mrs. Gallagher.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
think I need it.
The calendar.
So this starts staff on August 21st
Okay.
and
Oh, thank
students
you.
on August 27th,
That was John.
which gives us a 3 days back with students
Mhm.
and then a 3-day weekend for them. So it gives us a slightly slower start to the school year.
Yeah.
If I may,
Yes,
just to kind of summarize what you're saying.
yes.
So calendar B actually received the most votes, correct? It was so minimal
Correct.
and mild.
So we asked people to rank them in the survey, and so they got the most first place votes, but when you looked at the second place votes and added those with the, I wish Scott Hennigetser was here, he figured out all the math for the whole group. It had the most votes, and we tried, after we looked at the comments, we tried to take calendar B to see if we could fit in a full week spring break to that, to see if people would like that, but there's no way to do that with the way the breaks fall this year. And honestly, we would not have this many options had the high school not really done their due diligence from last year and were willing, and their community was willing to move graduation. So by them moving graduation, it's actually, it's on the next one, will be May 31st this year. So that is what allows us to have that option to move later. So it was really thanks to them that we had all these options. Because I don't know if you remember last year, I came and I mean, we all hate this calendar
Yeah.
that we're presenting to you within August 12th, so we knew what we had to do to fix that, and that's, we were all really happy that we could fix it. So I think C is just the perfect blend of all of the information, and the committee was really torn. I mean, it wasn't, we were all like, I was like, we have to pick one, you know, and so we did a quick vote and gave that to Dr. Miller, who then took in all the information and all the comments and decided to go with the compromise of C. So our goal in the committee is not always to make everybody happy, but make something that everyone can live with. And I think that C is our best option.
There is a bill in the legislature right now that possibly could change what we do as far as our calendar goes. Because the bill is stipulating that students will begin school after Labor Day. Don't know what that's gonna mean, if that's,
Well, they're
how far
actually-
along is it?
Yeah, there are actually two bills. The bill that comes right after that is a reduction in the number of student instructional days. So,
We don't want that.
and I think they have those two tied together. We did try to come up with our committee tried to come up with a calendar that was after Labor Day and ended before spring break or before Memorial Day, but that's really hard with where Christmas Day and New Year's Day fall this year in the middle of the week. So
Yes.
again, we have another rather large winter break similar to this year. Next year, that might be an option. I mean, we do hear from the community that that's really what they want, and so we try to make that happen every year. And there might come a time when it does, depending on where those days fall.
I'm surprised that the community was so in favor of the week-long spring break.
That's what we got a
That
lot of
surprises
comments
me.
about.
Dr. Miller, anything to add?
Yes, I mean, when making these types of decisions, again, we wanna make sure that everybody understands that we're making a decision in the calendar that'll benefit 5,000 students, from grades pre-K to 12. We know that AP testing at the high school takes place on a specific date and it does not have any slide to it. So we wanna make sure that we're giving our high school students as many opportunities to instructional time as we possibly can, while taking into consideration the needs of our elementary and middle school students. So when making that decision, we try to look at all aspects and different people's points of views, but in order to make a decision, I believe in the best interest of our children, that calendar C definitely would be our best choice.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for your work.
Yeah, guys.
As a parent, I like the later start in August. I think that's better.
I mean, last year was awful,
Yeah.
or this year rather.
Yeah.
Well, and then of course we will abide by state law once
Yeah.
that dust is settled.
It won't take us long to fix it because,
We're nimble.
yep.
So if there's nothing else from the board, I'm going to call the public hearing on the 2025-26 school calendar to be open for public comment at 5:43 p.m. Public, what do you say? Anything? Nothing.
Got thumbs up, I'll take it.
So we are hereby closing the public comment at 5:43 as
I just
well.
thought we have an audience, usually no one's here.
And thought the meeting was at 5:30.
They thought it was at 5:45.
I actually thought that as well.
But the next-
But there
The next
will
meeting,
be,
yes.
I will announce that there will be another public meeting for the 2025 school year on Monday, March 24th, 2025, at 5:45
Yes.
at the board office. There being no further business before this meeting, this